Hello learners, how are you? Today I'm here and brought a new topic about sexual cycle in females. In the last videos we have discussed about how the reproduction takes place and what are the reproductory organs in males and female. Now this is the next topic, which is sexual cycle in females. This sexual cycle is also called as menstrual cycle. The fertility period of human females begins at the age of puberty, about 10 to 12 years of age. When one of the two ovaries starts releasing ovum, that is female gamete, the age of puberty has begun. The two ovaries do not release their ova at one time. They alternatively release their ova one after the other, and the period between the release of ova is generally 28 to 30 days. For example, if one ovum is released from left ovary and the next ovum is released from the right ovary, the difference between them is about 28 to 30 days. The release of ova is controlled by a female hormone. Which hormone controls the release of ova? It is estrogen. It is not secreted constantly, but it is secreted in cycles. In each cycle, this estrogen is secreted. Each cycle lasts about 28 to 30 days. That is, one ovum is released per cycle. Clear? Okay. The control centers for production of gametes are the hypothalamus and the pituitary glands. Also act as a control center for the production of gamete, that is ova. The hypothalamus stimulates release of follicle stimulating hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone is also known as FSH, and luteinizing hormone, that is LH. In detail, we will discuss about these hormones in the next chapter. These two hormones are released by the pituitary gland, which is a growth hormone. These are referred to as gonadotrophic hormones. Children, the terms which I am using, just focus on that, because questions can be made from these terms only. So these are referred to as gonadotrophic hormones. Which are referred to as gonadotrophic hormones? FSH and LH. Why? Because they control the ovary and other reproductive organs. Now children, we will discuss about the menstrual cycle. This is the topic, menstrual cycle, which everybody wants to know about. And not only females but males are also curious to know about what the menstrual cycle is and why it only occurs in females. So the cycle of events which take place in female reproductive organs. Which are the female reproductive organs? That is ovary and uterus. Under the control of sex hormones, in every 28 days and marked by bleeding or menstrual flow is called menstrual cycle. This is also known as sexual cycle in human females. Okay. So this includes human reproductive organs, that is ovaries and uterus, and it runs across under the control of sex hormones. Every month a woman has a periods. This period is only the menstrual cycle. So date wise, we discussed that the first to fifth day of her periods, if the fertilization not occurred, the thickened lining of the uterus break down along with blood vessels. The degenerated part of uterus along with the blood moves out of the vagina in the form of bleeding. This is only called the menstruation or the period. Next, if we tell about this first to fifth day, that is follicle stimulating hormone secreted from the pituitary gland stimulates the development of primary oocyte in primary ovarian follicle. But the role of it stimulates the development of primary oocyte. Now, first to 14th proliferative phase. This first day to 14th means the extended from the to the 14th day. It is called the proliferative phase. Why it is called the proliferative phase? Because Here, the developing follicles release the hormone estrogen. What does estrogen do? It stimulates repair and development of the lining of the uterus and fallopian tube. The wall which has been secreted in the bleeding, the repair of it is done by the estrogen hormone. It also regulates the maturation of only one follicle so that only one ovum is released at a time. Okay, the main role is of estrogen too. The hormone estrogen builds up conditions. So then a mature ovum is released from the ovary into the body cavity, which passes into the fallopian tube. This is, children, a whole cycle through which the fertilization and embryo forms. Now the 14th day, it is the day when the release of ovum from the ovary is done. In the main cycle, the 14th day is considered as the day of ovulation, means the ovary has released its eggs. Now 15th to 28th day is called the secretory phase. First was the maturation period, 1st to 5th, 1st to 14th is proliferative period, and 15 to 28 is the secretory phase. Here, at the same time, another hormone, progesterone, is released from the ovary. This hormone stimulates the uterus to maintain its thickening, as well as glandular activity in uterus in veg. Release of progesterone is associated with the increase in body temperature of the female. So, the increase in body temperature is also considered as a sign of that ovulation has taken place. In case the fertilization occurs in the fallopian tube, the two hormones continue to cause thickening of the inner lining of uterus and fallopian tube. They also help in proper implantation of the fetus in the uterine wall. A fetus has to be kept in uterus. So the uterus wall should be so thickened, so muscular, so elastic, so that a fetus could be grown properly. The space is provided by the uterus wall so that a fully grown fetus fits inside that uterus. Okay, so this all such type of a room is made for a fetus, and this all is done by the hormone secreted by uterus, that is progesterone. Fertilization takes place inside the fallopian tube, children, but the embryo development occurs in the uterus. The normal functioning of ovaries and uterus stop during pregnancy. Ovulation is stopped, and consequently menstruation also stops till the birth of the offspring. You must have heard that during pregnancy there is no menstruation, during pregnancy there is no ovulation. So these two processes are stopped while a lady is pregnant. If no fertilization occurs, then menstruation starts, making the beginning of next cycle. So children, it could be considered as, if I summarize the whole story, is like if we take an example, a house is made up of bricks, cements, concrete, different pillars, iron, steel, glasses, isn't it? A house is made, prepared. Okay, the house is made for a particular type of people, and these people have to stay there. If the people say no, that we don't want to stay in this house, and that house is meant for that people only. So what happened if this house has been broken down, shed off? So the broken down, shed off these houses leads to the destruction of its walls, of its cements, of its concrete, of its glass, of its steels, of its pillars, isn't it? So these are shed off. In the same way, the uterus also acts as a room for the developing fetus. If there is no fertilization, the uterine wall sheds off. The blood vessels which are made for the new baby, for the protection, for the development of a fully grown uterus, these blood vessels shed off, these uterus wall sheds off, and this shedding off is in the form of blood. This blood, when shed off through the vagina, is in the form of menses, which we in general term called as periods. So from this explanation might be clear that what the periods are. Now there are two terms. They may cause confusion to you. They are menarche and menopause. At puberty, the commencement of menstruation means when the menstruation start of a fully grown lady or a girl. When a girl is a teenage girl, we consider 10 to 12 years of age as puberty age. To the commencement, the starting of the period is called as menarche. It marks the beginning of the reproductive life. A girl is said to be a fertile or the beginning of the reproduction. At that time, if a mating occurs or the fertilization takes place, a girl could be easily be pregnant. The reproductive cycles continue to occur till the age of 50. Like it's a 45 to 55 in Indian women. After this age, the menstruation stops. Cessation of cycles means stoppage of this cycles means end of this cycle events in ovary and uterus around the age of 50 years, and stoppage of menstrual flow is termed as menopause. So what is menopause? Is the cessation of this cycle, end of this cycle. And what the menarche is? The commencement of menstruation. So I think I made both the term clear. Thus, the normal reproductive life of human female is a period between menarche and menopause. The menarche, the copulation or mating process, the human male inserts his penis into the vagina of the female and releases sperms inside the genital tract. This is called ejaculation. At the time, approx 3 centimeter cube of semen, sperm-bearing fluid produced by testes and accessory gland is discharged during ejaculation, of which about 10% are sperms. They are millions in numbers. The sperms are deposited at the top of the vagina, close to the cervix of uterus. The sperms are highly active and mobile. They travel from here upward through the uterus to the top of fallopian tube within 5 minutes. From the male to the female fallopian tube, it takes about 5 minutes. There they spend several hours and undergo many chemical changes. Finally, only one sperm fertilizes the ovum in the fallopian tube. The fusion of sperm nucleus with the egg nucleus to form a diploid zygote is called fertilization. Fertilization occurs only when copulation occurs during ovulation period, that is middle of the menstrual cycle. We have to discuss the 3 phases. So the middle of the menstrual cycle is that period when if the copulation occurs during ovulation period, then the fertilization will take place easily. It is marked by the stoppage of menstrual flow. Means children, the pregnancy's first sign is also the missing of the periods. Means the next cycle will be missed. Then it is called as the earliest sign of pregnancy. So what the post-fertilization changes are in a woman when she becomes pregnant? What are the post-fertilization changes? After conception, that is when the fusion of male and female gametes have done and it had formed a zygote. So what happens? The embryonic development begins in the fallopian tube itself. This stage marks the beginning of pregnancy. As the zygote moves from the fallopian tube down to the uterus, it starts dividing by successive nuclear and cell divisions, resulting in the formation of a small multicellular ball of cells by the process called cleavage. The young multicellular embryo formed as a result of cleavage is now called as a blastocyst. First, the ball which is formed of different fusions and fissions, the cell divisions, is a blastocyst. The blastocyst gets embedded into the thickened inner wall of the uterus. It sticks to the inner wall of the uterus. The close attachment of the blastocyst to the uterine wall is called implantation. So what the implantation is? The sticking of this blastocyst to the internal uterine wall. It takes place about 7 days after fertilization. Implantation is followed by a number of developmental changes in the blastula as well as in the wall of uterus. These changes include the formation of different embryonic layers like ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. Fetus are the neural tubes and spinal cord. These organs begin to develop in the third week. Subsequently, a special umbilical cord develops in the fourth week, which establishes an intimate connection between the fetal membrane and uterine wall called placenta. In the placenta, the fetal blood comes very close to the maternal blood. Here, the exchange of materials between the mother's blood and the blood of fetus takes place. The fetus gets nutrients, water, oxygen, minerals, vitamins, etc. from the maternal blood and gives off waste, carbon dioxide, urea, etc. Thus, the placenta served as the nutritive, respiratory and excretory organ of the fetus. Okay. The placenta plays an important role, a mediator between a mother and a baby. The complete development of fetus from the initial stage of conception till the birth of the young one is called gestation, and this period for the woman is called the gestation period. It is also termed pregnancy. Gestation is completed in about 280 days or 40 weeks from the first day of the last menstruation. So, in the pregnancies, when there is results, when there is number of tests, then an LMP date is considered the last menstrual period. The last menstrual period is considered as the date from where the counting of a pregnancy starts. Gestation is followed by parturition. Parturition, what is parturition? Is the act of expelling the full-term young one from the mother's uterus at the end of gestation. It is a starting. The newborn child after 280 days of gestation weighs about 3.5 kg. Some are means less from 3.4 also, and measures about 240 mm from head to bottom. So this was the whole from the menstrual cycle, this which is also called as menstrual cycle. We have discussed about the fertilization and the post-fertilization changes. This is all about this video. In the further videos, we will discuss about what the methods of population control are, because they were the very important methods and are considered as important part in your board examinations, and you must know them. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you so much. Keep learning, keep growing. Bye-bye.